Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Justin Rose has done it so many times in his career. That's like he's so good at everything. There's nothing that he's bad at. You know, every part of his game is at close to a elite level when it's good. And so when he had it going on this week, he's not scared, dude. When he gets that look in his eye, watch out.
The Smiley Show, only on
If you don't like getting hit, you can't do BKFC point blank.
Oh, absolutely. Like in the MMA world, you have opportunities to negate getting hit more so than BKFC. You can get a takedown, you can secure a dominant position where you're less likely to get hit, and even if you are getting hit, you're less damaging because of your position.
Combat Sports Report, only on SportsGrid.
Whoa! What do you say? Little game time decisions on a Thursday night on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you for 90 minutes as we get ready for a delicious Thursday slate. 3 in Major League Baseball that we are awaiting. A couple of live right now. The NFL preseason final week of action starts as well, with 2 of them. Jackson Dart, likely preseason MVP. They don't give it out, but if they did, he'd be the favorite. Come on now. He would be. Giants fan, they might have something. I don't know. The WNBA tonight, fantastic. We are going to get to the entire ongoings of the W with Coach James Young. I am super excited. Coach and I have been texting throughout the day, so we will get to that in 10 minutes time, so do not go anywhere. But on this day, on this Thursday, we begin with the Major League Baseball board, where the main event to me is unquestionable, because still the top rivalry in the sport comes at a time where both teams need it. And it's the Yankees and it's the Red Sox. And I think an underrated storyline for this Major League Baseball season is the Boston Red Sox, I believe, could claim responsibility for somewhat breaking the New York Yankees. The Yankees, after a series in Kansas City, which, by the way, started after they had lost 2 consecutive to Boston, the Yankees, okay? The Yankees, after a trip to Kansas City, went to Fenway Park, and for the first time all season, were swept. All season. They followed that by then losing another 3 consecutive to the LA Angels. And all of a sudden, a team that had been booked as not just favorites in the AL East, but favorites in the American League all season long, saw their status drop time and time again. A team who was once 17 over 500 was scratching and clawing to just sit 6 over 500. The Yankees, though, have started to find a rhythm. This is a Yankees team that enters into tonight winners of 5 in a row, 7 of their last 8. The offense starting to click. Their 4 most recent games, they have scored 20. Is that right? They scored 39 runs in their last 4 games. And you look at the last 10 overall for the Yankees, mashing home runs. Absolutely smashing home runs. The New York Yankees, winners of 8 of their last 10. The scoring is there. The batting average has been there. The pitching has been a little bit better. Devin Williams actually came in and was passable in their most recent trip to Tampa Bay. And for the Yankees, while having Judge back is great, the star of the show right now, argument for Cody Bellinger, argument for Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton, by the way, who is at no point likely to qualify for the leaderboard, those statistics right there are not last 10 days. Stanton is hitting .311 on the season. Stanton is hitting a smooth .571 over the last 15 days. What? It is incredible to see the level of baseball that Stanton is bringing. Cody Bellinger has had some of those, viral tweets you see. They throw his stats side by side with Kyle Tucker, and Cody B has arguably been the better player. So the Yankees now starting to find a rhythm. This coincides with Boston slipping a bit. They allow themselves to lose 2 in a row to Baltimore. They did take 2 of 3 against Miami, but they struggled against a Houston team that could seemingly not get out of their own way. And we've now seen a swap in status within the race of the American League East, where the Yankees are now a game and a half clear of this Boston team. The Yankees creating a bit of a buffer in the American League wildcard race. At a moment in time, by the way, the Yankees were like a half game up on the Cleveland Guardians, which feels like a year ago that happened. But that's where things are. The Yankees still trying to hunt down Toronto, but holding off Boston and starting to stack wins is huge. And I mentioned they've been doing that from the offensive perspective. So I look at tonight's game, and my best bet is the over 8.5. Incredibly, 3 picks tonight for myself and then 2 others from our crew all come from this game. Chris, a little bit on the same wavelength as me. Looking for runs, looking for offense. Going with Roman Anthony, the rookie who has started to really put it together for this Boston group. 2+ hit run RBI at -110. Roman Anthony in the leadoff spot makes that a really juicy number, hitting .283 right now. Pat's going the other way with an under first 5 at 4.5. And I think the selling point for Pat would likely be Louis Heel returning to form, was good in his most recent start. And the Lucas Giolito case is in the eye of the beholder. I looked through the Lucas Giolito season, and there was a month stretch of baseball, just under 40 innings pitched, where he was one of the very best in baseball. 38 2/3 innings, he pitched to a .7 ERA, owned a 5-0 record in that stretch of games. They pitched about 7 or 8 starts for the Red Sox. The problem is, outside of that stretch, Giolito is pitching in closer to 70 innings to a nearly 5.3 ERA, 5.29. And outside, again, of that great month of baseball, Giolito has completely lacked consistency. So we talk about bounce-back spots, we talk about sell-high spots, and Giolito coming off of a game against Miami where despite giving up 7 hits, which is the most he has actually given up since prior to when he got on the heater, but only allowing the 1 earned run, I think Giolito is absolutely vulnerable against this red-hot Yankees offense, who I think will be excited to hit tonight in the Bronx. And while Louis Heel is someone the Yankees want to be great, I am not fully sold. He is fully back, and at 8.5, I think either team tonight could really carry the torch within this one. And I think that is how this can potentially play out here tonight. There are 2 other games on tonight's Major League Baseball board. That's Baltimore-Houston. That's Tampa Bay-St. Louis. I might have took a vacation. My love for this Astros team did not. Give me the Astros plus 102 on the money line. You've got to be kidding me. Brandon Young minus 125 against the Astros? Oh, because I was away, I didn't know he was flirting with a perfect game against these Astros. No, I know exactly that. And that's exactly why I'm playing Houston. Brandon Young's not a good enough pitcher to hold down a team like the Astros consecutively. We saw what Gavin Williams did after he nearly no-hit the New York Mets. He barely made it to the first inning against the Miami Marlins. This is a clear and obvious fade Brandon Young spot for me. Give me the Stros to snap a streak up against the O's tonight on the road. And then Tampa Bay, St. Louis, I'm going to play this under. Joe Boyle's been struggling a little bit in his two recent starts, but I think he can bounce back tonight against St. Louis with Sonny Gray getting the baseball, who's in a bounce-back spot in his own right here. If either guy steps up, we get an under in this one. We're back in a big way. It's the W next. It's Game Time Decisions.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The WNBA has 4 games tonight, and I'm involved with 3 of the 4. I think we've got plenty of juice on this slate. I think this league is picking up right at the perfect time. The Caitlin Clark return is not there yet, but I think once it happens, it'll coincide with their playoffs, and I know it'll be battling for position with football, and it's not like it's going to be the number 1 lead. But we're getting there, and we're getting the juice back. And you have an incredible race right now at the top of the W. Seeds 2 through 5, it's a half a game of separation. That's it. Seeds 2 through 7, are only separated by 4 games. It is a tight race right now in the WNBA. Nobody better to talk about it with than Coach James Young, of course, right here, hosts the Betting Above the Rim podcast, always stops by to talk hoops with us here. And JY, just quickly off the bat, but what a great race we are shaping up for down the stretch here of this WNBA season.
Yeah, it's been a great race, obviously with teams making huge moves. Atlanta, Phoenix has been better than we expected. Vegas, huge run. You even had to run a little bit, come back a little bit back, the Sparks. So it's been a really fun race to kind of watch WNBA, and we're doing it without stars. And Fisher Collier has been out. Brianna Stewart has been out. BG's coming off the bench. Phoenix had injuries. Obviously no Caitlin Clark. They just lost Sophie Cunningham to a torn MCL. But there's other great stories, right? Malanga getting more time with Seattle and how they're made a little bit, even if they've lost 7 of the last 10. The Valkyries, can they be the first WNBA team to make the playoffs? Washington, a team that was left for dead. I mean, it's been really exciting to watch the WNBA. And I think the playoffs are going to be a lot of fun. I know people are crowning Minnesota. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting come playoff time.
I couldn't agree more, JY. And I want to start, sometimes we go in chronological order. JY's got picks for all these games. We will get to all of them before they tip, I promise you. I'm starting with Vegas and Phoenix. You got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. This Vegas team, it's like, I don't know. And I quit on them a bunch of times. It's not like I cashed out of any of the futures, but this team didn't feel like they had it. And they lose in historic fashion to the Lynx and have responded with an 8-game winning streak that has somewhat proved Vegas does not need Aja to be one of the best players in the league. They need her to be the best player in the league. Well, luckily for them, here comes Aja Wilson being the absolute best player in the world during the 8-game win streak, averaging a smooth 27 and 13, 4 30-point games in the 8-game run, 3 consecutive, JY. Aja has been incredible, and I will say this, and I'm curious if you agree. I think she is a major threat, even more than the market believes right now, to win the WNBA MVP, with current favorite Fisher Collier still sidelined with an injury.
I'm going to say this, folks. I'll go one better. I don't think Fisher Collier is going to win MVP. I really think it's going to be either Aja Wilson or Alyssa Thomas. When you kind of peel back and you look at the run that Aja Wilson has been on and how this team has gotten better, right? It's coincided with a couple of things. Obviously, Jewel Lloyd going to the bench. Kevin was really great on this over 1.5 made threes for Jewel Lloyd. It kind of was hitting almost every game to the point where, it was like minus 180. So you have to go look at 3+ made threes. I know she didn't hit it last game, but it's something you always have to look at. But to me, 8 straight wins. Phoenix, 4 of the last 6 they've won. Aces won at 2 previous meetings. The game's at home. And it's basically, I could get them at under minus 150 on the money line. I mean, I think people are trying to discount their wins. You can't discount their wins. They're playing that good basketball. I love the Aces on the money line tonight. And for one other person I don't think is getting a lot of respect with this, the point guard is back. And I think Asia's climb has been coincided with the point guards play. Bringing Jewel Lloyd off the bench and running Chelsea with the ones with Jack Young has kind of unlocked her. Kevin, over 5.5 assists, over 4 of the last 5 games. Kevin, the last 3 games, she's gotten 9+. When the Aces win, she's 7 out of 10. She's a huge part of this turnaround. The point guard over 5.5 assists tonight.
And this is, again, something that Coach and I have talked about together when, we've had the opportunity on different, shows here. Vegas needs their stars to be stars. Aja, Chelsea, Jackie, Jewel, and right now they are checking those boxes. I will say for me, I like the under 170.5 in this game. I was going to play the Aja under the 24.5. I know you might think, hold on a second. What are you talking about? You're just singing her praises. She could score 21, 22, 23 under the number, have a great game. The number's getting so high. I believe in what Phoenix brings to the table defensively. I'd rather play the under overall. This, for me, I don't think I'm buying the hype too much. This is playoff atmosphere type of stuff. This is Phoenix looking to get one back, who just lost in their building to this Aces team. And this is, every win for Vegas is kind of another prove it, right? Of, okay, we're back. Okay, we're finding our rhythm. A win here for Vegas, at that point, they're the third best team in the WNBA. There's no argument. Liberty went healthy, Lynx went healthy, and then it's Vegas to me. Like, we just flashed up your WNBA title odds. The Mercury and the Dream still out there getting more love than Vegas. Not if Vegas gets the job done tonight. I like Coach's look. I think, though, this is a spot where defense wins the day. I think Aja struggles a little bit. I think this game goes under 170.5. We're going to keep Coach James Young around because we have still 3 other games to get to. Still no Nafisha Collier for the Lynx tonight going against Atlanta. If you remember, Atlanta's the only team, I think still, who's beaten Minnesota in Minnesota. Connecticut and Washington, where if the Mystics want to be alive in this race, they need to make sure they handle their business. And then Angel Reese is back for the Chicago Sky. Could they shock the Liberty tonight? We'll ask Coach James Young next, right here on Game Time Decisions.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Answer is this. 12-team, 3 wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan number 1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 number 1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers are playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions here on a Thursday night on SportsGrid. We're going to get to your Major League Baseball board once again. We've got 3 great games, but that Yankees-Red Sox one matters a lot. The whole crew is involved. We'll talk about the NFL preseason action as well. It starts in about 6 minutes, but before we get there, we stick with Coach James Young, and we get involved with this WNBA slate. We started with Aces Mercury. Remind the people quickly, Coach, what are you on for this game tonight? I think the biggest on the slate, no doubt.
No doubt. I'm going with the Aces on the money line. I'm also going to point guard over 5.5 assists. One I didn't get to. Alyssa Thomas over 14.5 points. Over 4 in the last 5 games. Last 2 versus the Aces. Yes, she's gone under the last 5 road games, but this is such a huge spot for both teams. Huge game with the WNBA with playoff implications and standings really at play here. Alyssa Thomas over 14.5 points tonight.
Now, I'm on the under 170.5. I am on the over 158 Sun Mystics. I think this is a little bit of a bounce back spot overall for these two teams here. They just played. They played in this. They actually played at Washington. Excuse me. Game went under the number. Both shot it poorly from beyond the arc. I think the Mystics offense specifically really bounces back here, JY. But I'm going to play that over at 158.
Yes, since the beginning of the month, the Washington Mystics have been very good offensively, Kevin, even with the trade of Brittany Sykes. To me, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to go on the money line with the Mystics. I know they're 3-2 straight up the last 5 games. But, number one, do people know that the Connecticut Sun, I think I'm right with this, have not won back-to-back games all season? All season they haven't won back-to-back games. And then you look at the fact that the Mystics are in this playoff hunt. Kevin, the rest of the way, they have the 5th toughest schedule according to Tankathon. 2 Liberty, 1 Mercury, 1 Aces, 1 Fever, 1 Valkyrie, 1 Storm, and then 1 Sparks. Kevin, if they're going to make a push for the playoffs, they can't lose this game tonight. Give me the Washington Mystics on the money line tonight.
All right, I like that look there, JY. I like that Mystics team. I'll also say this hand up because I don't know if we'll have time to expand. Paige Beckers, Rookie of the Year, yours. My bad. All right, I thought Cintron was in the mix. Hey, that's on me. All right, 44 on 80%. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you 100% got it. JY, Liberty Sky. All right, look. I'm not saying Chicago definitely wins. I'd be really surprised if they covered. I think the Liberty are super underwhelming without Stewie. I think them beating the Lynx makes them unbelievably vulnerable. And Angel Reese we've wanted her to see her improve in areas, JY. She did in the middle of the season. The difference between the Sky with Reese in and Reese out is night and day. This team in their first game with Reese back caught double digits from the Storm, covered the number in a loss. I think they cover the number once again. I'll take the 15 with Reese in the Sky.
See, I'm going to look at it a different way, Kevin, and you made some good points, but do also realize that when they played Seattle, they were down 18 after 3 and they backdoor covered. So that's why I think you can get them with the backdoor cover. So I'm going to go a different angle. I'm going to go Chicago team total under 74.5. 11th in field goal percentage offense. 12th in offensive rating. Last in assist to turnover ratio. Last in turnover ratio. Liberty, 5th in defensive rating. Chicago's gone under this number 6 out of the last 8 games, but you say, whoa, no Angel Reese. Well, both times Angel Reese has been in the lineup, they went under this number versus the Liberty. Give me under 74.5. But one person I like, the benefit of Angel Reese coming back is Rachel Banham, the shooter. Over 1.5 made threes, over 7 in the last 10. But Kevin, when Angel's in the lineup, 9 out of 10. Angel and Cardoso double bigs, more spacing for guards. That betterment's Barnum, over 1.5 made threes tonight.
I like the look there, JY. I do, because you made sense, even if I'm all about the Chicago Sky in this one. Anything for you in Atlanta, Minnesota, before we let you get out of here?
No, there's nothing in that because I want to see if
it's a tricky one.
Going to come back. It's a tricky spot there, but Atlanta's been really good. Brittany Griner coming off the bench. It's going to be amazing coming down the stretch of the last couple of games. Some teams as many as 10 games left. There's going to be a lot of jockeying in position. And could it be stay away from the 1 seed? 2, 3, 6, 7. Maybe that's where you want to be in the playoffs.
Just a reminder, all right? Betting Above the Rim podcast. Nobody does it like Coach James Young. And before you know it, we're going to be firing away some NBA futures, some college basketball futures. If I see another Kentucky video, I might turn this into a college basketball show. You watch out. We'll be right back. It's Game Time Decision.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Answer is this: 12-team, 3-wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan number 1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 number 1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers are playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
How are we feeling on a Thursday? Do we feel good? Do we feel in the mix? Do we feel excited? We're ready for some college football. It's around the corner. It is. This Saturday, week 0, ranked in Dublin. Love it. Love it. All right? There's juice out there. There's juice out there. We'll let you know about it when it's time. I want to remind you about the action that is about to get underway. That's the WNBA slate with 2 of them. Give me the over. Sun Mystics at 158. Give me the Sky plus 15. And the NFL preseason game between the Panthers and the Steelers. Give me Carolina plus the 6.5. Tricky preseason waters. All right. oh, they got me. They started hitting that Panther in the ear. That was good. I'm excited, folks. I'm excited. We're back. Look, there's a lot of energy today. Right, Cabo Chris is here, so we're feeling good. And I'm feeling good about Carolina in this spot. It's all relative. Now, let me say this. Week 1, week 2 of the preseason, you expect more guys. What we're seeing is week 3 is the real punt portion of the preseason, right? Burrow played the first 2. You're not going to see Burrow. Josh Allen, we're not going to see him at all because he didn't play in the first 2. He's not playing in the 3. And Pittsburgh's not going to play Aaron Rodgers any here. I think Pittsburgh, to some degree, this whole preseason is a bit of a job done, right? They win that first game, handle their business against Jacksonville as a dog, pull off the upset, fine and good, right? They barely played Mason Rudolph against Tampa Bay. And I look at the rest of that Pittsburgh room, and it doesn't move me a ton. Now, I understand that Carolina is going to enter into this one. I'm not really expecting much, if any, Bryce Young. And I know Andy Dalton's a little banged up. And I know Ted McMillan is not playing in this game. But the Panthers have lost the 2 preseason games that they have played by a combined, or the combined score is 50-13. The Panthers, for most of last season, were the worst team in the league. I know that they, tacked a couple of wins on and down the stretch there. It was indefensibly bad. And I think at home, Dave Canales is going to actually try and get his group up for this game. I really believe that. And I'm getting 6.5 points at home. That, for me, is is worth it here. That's about as good as I think we're going to do in a week 3 preseason game. In a situation that I think is more of a coin flip, I think Carolina getting 6.5 at home against the Steelers is how we get involved. And that's exactly how I got involved. By the way, with the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young and, what is this season going to necessarily bring here? I am involved in Carolina, if you remember, during our most recent edition of Kevin 7 from a week ago with the over on Chuba Hubbard's season-long rushing prop. It was a number that Chuba went over very comfortably last season, despite all of the losing that this team did and missing multiple games. Chuba, to me, showed he can get there regardless. Is Bryce Young someone worth investing in these season-long markets? I have more hesitation. I do. I loved Bryce Young coming out of Alabama. And I am happy that this organization has not given up on him in the way that we've seen other quarterbacks from that class discarded. But Bryce Young and Carolina as a whole, people talk, they were playing much better. And there's some truth to that, right? They were competitive against Kansas City. They were competitive against Philadelphia. This is also a team who their last 3 wins all came in overtime. And the only other game that Bryce Young won was by a point. At no point were they starting to route, rock, and roll. And there were still some ugly ones in there. Destroyed by Dallas. Destroyed by Tampa Bay. Bryce was not lighting the world on fire. Now it's year 3. And it maybe gets better. But where the real issues, I think, start to come in for Carolina is it would take a bit of a miraculous and the randomness that occasionally comes with defense for this group to not be flatly horrific again. They didn't do much to get better. J.C. Horn had a down season. Maybe he can bounce back. That you need to sell yourself on. And Derek Brown, who missed almost the entire season, is projected to be back. Is he back in himself immediately out of the gate? I don't know about that. And I don't think they just need Derek Brown to be back in a part of what they're doing. No, they need Derek Brown to be like one of the very best defensive linemen in the league. It's a big ask. So as we are in the portion of this NFL season where we're starting to shape up futures and postseason picture, who are we in on? Who are we out on? Carolina's not a playoff team for me. They were a trendy group last year, and I wasn't in on the group. I think occasionally that profile does speak to me a little bit, right? Where trendy, let down, discarded, and I'll pick up the pieces. That's not Carolina. Not for me this year. There's other ways I'd rather play within this NFC South with, a usual suspect in Tampa Bay. Maybe we get to Atlanta. The New Orleans piece is not a serious consideration at all, though I think New Orleans could maybe get over the win total. We'll get to that when we get to that. But Carolina, I am not too interested in it, and I feel good about that. Pittsburgh is trickier. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a trickier team because they feel so similar to last year's Jets. And I think sometimes we rewrite history too quickly on a team like the Jets. Last year's group, where I think people go, oh, of course. Last year's Jets ended up closing as the favorites in the AFC East. With Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, the Jets closed as favorites. The idea for that team is that they were going to be really good. And I got to tell you, that wasn't a ridiculous thought. It wasn't. Because Rodgers was supposed to provide better quarterback play, and he kind of did. And Garrett Wilson is really good. And Robert Saleh can coach a defense. But somehow, some way, they lose a disgraceful one against Denver at home. Rodgers throws away a game in London against Minnesota. They fire Robert Saleh. The defense is never the same, and the season's a flat mess. So why would the Steelers' season be any different? Tomlin offers up a level of stability that the Jets didn't have. Now, what do you get out of Aaron Rodgers? Great question. Because I actually don't think it's fair to say, oh, Rodgers is going to bring better quarterback play. I don't think that's fair to say, that Rodgers is going to be better than Russ or even what Justin Fields was giving them. But the Steelers' defense should be really good and shouldn't randomly end up being really bad like the Jets did in the middle of the season. And if the Steelers' defense comes together, it could be the very best in the league. And I'm still having a struggle hand-waving maybe the best defense in football. The Steelers are a tricky team to pin down as we get closer to the start of this NFL season. We'll continue to get you set here with the Giants and the Patriots starting in about 45 minutes. That's next right here. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to Game Time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, back right here on SportsGrid, Game Time Decisions. Major League Baseball board is about to pick up. We figured we'd do some welcome homers with, myself and Chris kind of really back right here in the action. I'll take the big man. That's Big 9-9. That's Aaron Judge for a home run. You guys know I am expecting runs tonight in the Yankees-Red Sox. It's my best bet, the over 8.5. Lucas Giolito is a clean fade for me in this game, and I'm not fully trusting the Louis Heel return, so I think we get over the 8.5 runs. Chris is on Roman Anthony for 2+ hit run RBI. It's a tight needle to thread for Pat, who is going to play the under first 5 of that game at 4.5 between the Yankees and the Red Sox. So we'll see how that ultimately shakes up and shakes out. I did play Houston at plus 102 on the money line. I like the Astros tonight. And that game is about to start as well. Brandon Young almost having a perfect game against the Astros is exactly why I like the Astros. This was the exact type of stuff that led to the fate of Gavin Williams a week or so ago. That's exactly what I'm looking for here with Houston. At 7:35, I'm going to play the under 8.5 in Boyle Gray. That's Rays Cardinals. In that game, you'll find the home run for Chris. He's going to play Junior Caminero. And I do like, not to explain the joke of it all, but it's not really intentional. But like the welcome homer, and then I pick Aaron Judge. Chris is Mr. Junior Caminero. It really works. It plays nicely. Maybe you could put a little two-step there, hope to hit a big one. So it's Caminero for Chris, and it's Aaron Judge for me as the Major League Baseball slate is about to start. Yanks, Red Sox, and Orioles, Astros. W board's underway. The Steelers and the Panthers are underway. At 8 o'clock, we get the Giants and the New England Patriots. And just starting strictly from the betting aspect of this game, and there's been some line movement here. We're down to 5.5, it looks like, from the 6.5 number. I see a 4.5 out there. Now, bullets kind of fly while we're here, so I don't know if they release, hey, we're not going to see a lot of Jackson Dart. Did the Patriots say, hey, we're all the way in on giving you Drake May? With a dropping total, I would think it's more the former than the latter. It was a really tricky game where I feel like I at one point had sold myself on all four angles, either side, over or under, which meant I needed to back away. I initially looked at the game, thought, give me New England. They've won both their preseason games. We're getting nearly a touchdown. I don't think Mike Vrabel's just going to roll over here. This is a good spot. I'll just take those points, right? Then I found myself saying, you know what? It's probably an over, right? I mean, Jackson Dart has been out of this world in these preseason games. It's been the talk of the town, if you will. Thrown for nearly 300 yards and 2 scores with another on the ground, completing nearly 75% of his passes over those 2 games. So I'm like, the Pats will do enough. It's a lower total. This game can get there. And then I was like, maybe then just lay it with the Giants, right? Because if I'm banking on all this offense, I'm banking on it from the Giants. So let's not get stuck with a game that ends up 24-10, right? Then I was like, well, is there a zag? Like, is everyone going to be betting on Jackson Dart too much? NFL preseason MVP? They don't give it out. If they did, it would be him, I would think. I don't think I've missed anything. I don't think I missed that much, that it's someone other than Jackson Dart right now. You can let me know. I don't think so. But so is this a zag under? Hands up. Hands up. Couldn't get there. I could not get there. I will say Jackson Dart's performance has made the Giants season even more interesting, because now every loss, the calls for Dart under center will grow louder. And those were likely to come and be full throttle regardless. Now, there is a spot where I think you could see the Giants go to Dart 100% if they are bad, with no hesitation, which is because of their very late Week 14 bye. The ability to then play Dart for the Final Four with 3 of the 4 at home, Commanders, Minnesota, at the Vegas, and then home for Dallas. I think that is a spot that will draw people, right? The thing is, and I've been hinting at it, I think the Giants could surprise. There are elements of this Giants roster I'm really interested in and I think could push off what the expectations are. The hard part is this Giants schedule. They go to Washington to start. They're over a touchdown dog. They follow that up by going to Dallas, then hosting the Chiefs and hosting the Chargers. The the highest in the room, I'm not sure gets to 2-2. They'll follow that up with a 4-game stretch where they go to New Orleans. It's easily the easiest game of the stretch. In the next 4, they play Philly twice, along with a trip to Denver. That is not easy. In fact, it's really tough. They follow that with home against the Niners, at the Bears, home against the Packers, at the Lions. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's a schedule that doesn't blend well. It's very difficult if the Giants find themselves off to a 1-6, 2-5 start. Those are hard to bounce back from, even if there's areas where you think they can grow and improve. But what makes all of this so fascinating is I think they can pull some upsets, clearly. But if they don't, and this team starts 0-3, a loss at the Commanders, at Dallas, and home against Kansas City, are the dart calls loud enough to get this kid under center week 4, 5? That becomes the most interesting part of this Giant season. And that's then where the Jackson Dart Offensive Rookie of the Year conversations would become a lot. They gain legitimacy and it gains interest, because now you're talking about a guy who doesn't get a full start, but he gets enough. And if the change is noticeable, it'll all feel way different. All stuff to keep your eye on. It's a quick break. We're right back with more Game Time Decisions.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Answer is this: 12-team, 3-wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan number 1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 number 1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers are playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions on a Thursday night. Not only worried about Thursday night, but putting our eye on some of the best soccer slate that you will find and what you can be betting on, and nobody else to do it to help us out than Marcelino Ortiz. Marcelino, how are we doing?
Very well, my friends. I'm here from the clubhouse of Latin Nation Football Club. We broadcast every Friday right here in SportsGrid, and we're excited because the Premier League kicked off, the La Liga kicked off, and we have this tournament, Leagues Cup, that for the first time has 4 MLS teams beating the Mexican teams advancing to the semifinals. So it's a full MLS semifinal in the Leagues Cup. So a lot of big games. My favorite for this weekend is Manchester City versus Tottenham. Manchester City started with a massive first game, 4-0. They claim to be back to be one of the top teams in the league, and I believe they're going to win this game. What do you think?
Well, I think it's really interesting, Marcelino, because the Premier League, year after year, it belonged to Pep and City. Last year, that changed with Liverpool almost running away with it. I mean, for City's expectations, it was an incredibly disappointing campaign. So I think you mentioned it, the 4-0 win. Anything less, I think, would have been underwhelming for them because they needed to make a statement. And do you feel like those are the statements that we'll see from this group throughout this campaign?
Without a doubt. For me, it is the top favorite. If you want to put some money, I will put some money on Manchester City to win it all. Rodri is back better than ever. He clearly has the reins of this team. And when he's on the pitch, everyone is better around him. And Pep Guardiola knows that. So this team will have a lot of belief. But they will have Liverpool that although they have a tough first week, scoring 4 goals, but getting 2 goals back, which seem to be a lot of disorganization in the back. But Liverpool is also a very, very good team. Now, my prediction is that Manchester City is going to win this game. But my favorite bet, and one that I really like, is both teams to score by halftime. It's around plus 700, and I think it's going to be paying off because these two teams are scoring teams. They will go out to make statements because the beginning of the season is very important to set the tone.
I like it. I like it a lot. Let's talk some MLS here. Of course, we're with Marcelino Ortiz. And if we're talking MLS, it's hard not to start with anything going on in South Beach. Inter Miami and DC United with a fixture. Marcelino, what are you looking for in this one?
DC United will be at home, so they have an advantage there. But Miami is on a roll. Right now, we see Miami demolishing teams left and right. Messi took a couple of games off, and now he's better. He played just a half, and he scored and gave an assist. But the key player that you need to follow and you need to put some money on is Rodrigo de Paul. Rodrigo de Paul is the second phase to this grand Galactico style of team building that Miami has. Messi has probably 2 years, but Rodrigo de Paul will be managing this team. I bet that he will score in this game. Again, this game, high scoring. I will go on the over of goals. I will go on the over on corners because these teams play on the wide cracks. So the corners are going to be high, and I see both teams scoring. So those are my recommendations for that game.
Let me ask you quickly, Marcelino, before we get to another MLS fixture. But Inter Miami, you mentioned that Leagues Cup. They're going to play Orlando City next week. Is that something that you're already starting to keep your eye on?
Without a doubt, this is going to be a revenge game for Miami because not too long ago, I think 3 weeks ago, Orlando trashed them without Messi 4-0. This is El Clásico de Florida. This is the most important game for the state, and I believe that Orlando will do the surprise. They have Miami number, and unless Messi really comes out swinging with a historical performance, I think Orlando has the edge, and the odds won't agree.
All right, so let me then ask you quickly before we let you go, Marcelino. The Galaxy and Seattle, two of the most noteworthy teams in the MLS. What are you keeping your eye on with those two clubs?
I'm an LAFC fan, so it's hard for me to root for Galaxy. But in this game, Galaxy will take the game. Galaxy is the last place in the MLS after being the champions. It's a historical disaster, their current season. But in Leagues Cup, they have a chance to redeem themselves and qualify to CONCACAF Champions League. So they will come out and give it all. This is a final for them. This is what redeems, and this is what keeps their jobs. Because what's happening on the league, it is very, very bad. So I see that Galaxy has the motivation to win it. They've been playing really well. But in front of them, we're going to have a high offensive Seattle. So my recommendations, Galaxy to win, both teams to score, and the over on goals for sure. And I'll invite you guys to watch us tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, Latin Nation Football Club right here on SportsGrid. And thank you for having me.
Marcelino, incredible as always. We'll be right back.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Answer is this: 12-team, 3-wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan number 1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 number 1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers were playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions here on a Thursday night. We're, of course, making decisions for tonight's slate, like the upcoming game between Tampa Bay and St. Louis on the Major League Baseball board, where I'm on the under 8.5. But you have to get ready to make some of those decisions for the football season, and that includes the college football season, which presents us an incredible Week 0 matchup. I would almost argue too good. I don't know if I'm ready for ranked, super meaningful in-conference action, but the slate leaves us no choice. So to talk about it, it's Alec Bussey from 24/7 Sports, who covers Iowa State there, and the host of the first quarter on 106.3 KXNO and the Iowa Sports Radio Network, who does a great job covering the Cyclones. Alec, how are you?
Good, guys. Thanks for having me on. Excited to join you and preview the college football season. I think I made the wise decision to be a huge college football fan. I didn't make the wise decision for my favorite sport to have the shortest season and the longest off season, but fortunately, that long off season is over, and we're super fired up to cover it.
Yeah, it's a lot at once, right? But you, in a way, at least you don't have to wait that extra week because you get the Week 0. But I want to just get right to this game here. What are the vibes that you are feeling around such an important game because of how the Big 12 is set up, where it's such an open league? Head-to-head matchups are going to matter a ton, and these are two of the top contenders in K-State and Iowa State. What are you feeling around this game, which is in about 2 days?
Yeah, I think what's really fun about it is you look at the future implications of the game for each team and you understand how important it is. Speaking specifically to the Iowa State side, in week 2 of the season, week 3 for the Cyclones, they play their in-state rival Iowa. So a win for Iowa State in Ireland against Kansas State presents them an opportunity to potentially start the season 3-0 with 2 of the best wins in college football at that time. It also presents them the negative opportunity of potentially being 0-2 with 2 losses to their top 2 rivals. So I think it's really important for each team to start the season hot. I think that each team understands the importance of this game. It's obviously a rivalry game. It's the first time that the 2 teams have been ranked in the AP Top 25 at the time of competition since 2002, which was a game that K-State won, I think 58-7 or something like that way back in the day. So it's obviously a really big game for each team, and I know that each fan base is jacked up. I think each school sold close to or all of the 10,000 lottery tickets that they're given for this event from the Air Lingus College Football Classic. So lots of implications, and it's something that I know each fan base is super fired up to be a part of, and each coaching staff and school and players are super fired up to be a part of as well.
I think the eye for Iowa State, so much of it is going to be on Rocco Becht. And you, of course, know it well covering this program. But for people who don't realize, Becht had a lot of hype when he initially started to play for this group. And then last year, he had a pair of 1,000-yard receivers. There's not a lot of 1,000-yard receivers on the same team. I think maybe it was only Iowa State and Ohio State. And for Becht now, you lose 2 star-level guys, but he has a whole nother year under his belt. What are you expecting from Becht, really in his 3rd full season for the Cyclones?
Yeah, Kevin, first of all, props for doing your research. Iowa State was one of just 2 programs nationally to have 2 1,000-yard receivers in the FBS. The only other one was Ohio State, and that was Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Ibuka. Losing Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll is a huge loss for Iowa State. Not only were they great players for Iowa State on the field, they were really respected, high-level leaders in the locker room. They carried themselves the exact way that Matt Campbell would like his best players to do, and I think that's one of the reasons why they had so much success on the field. In terms of replacing them, they're going to rely on 2 transfers as well as 2 second-year players. But at the same time, I think they're really going to rely on Rocco Becht to start to elevate the offense around him. I think in his first 2 years as starting quarterback, he was a really good player, right? He passed for 3,000 yards in each season. He threw for at least 23 touchdowns in each season. But he was able to rely on those 2 stud receivers to kind of elevate him as he entered his early years as a college football starting quarterback. And now it's his turn to elevate the people around him. And with Chase Sowell, the transfer from East Carolina, Xavier Townsend, the transfer from UCF, coming in to replace Higgins and Knoll, and then 2 second-year receivers in Dominic Overby and Brett Eskelson coming in as well. I think Iowa State's bullish that they can replace those guys maybe in the aggregate, to quote Billy Beane in Moneyball, but maybe not nearly get the same production out of the top 2 as they did a year ago.
But I think it's so fascinating, Alec, and I'm wondering if you would agree, where you want to give the ball to Becht as much as possible, but it's so hard to ask him to get 2 guys drafted to the NFL. It's very tough. And you return your lead back in Carson Hansen. So I'm wondering a little bit, right? And this is what a lot of, here in the sports betting pace, is Iowa State going to be passing more? Are they going to be running more? I mean, maybe it's balanced, but what are some of the expectations for Carson Hansen heading into this season?
Yeah, I mean, he was really good last year. He had 13 rushing touchdowns last season. I think it's important to not overlook the impact that Abu Sama also had for Iowa State in the rushing game. I think a lot of people entering last season probably thought that Abu Sama was the sophomore running back who could really make a star impact for the Cyclones, but it was Hansen who did it, like I said, with the 13 rushing touchdowns. He had 2 receiving touchdowns as well, so 15 touchdowns on the year is pretty significant. I think he had about 750 to 800 yards. They get both of those guys back this season, and I think getting Hansen back gives them someone that they can rely on, kind of those tough, gotta have it types of down and distances where you're trying to move the chains or get into the end zone, where Sama's got the ability to be a home run hitter. We saw that in 2023 with his 3 rushing touchdowns of at least 60 yards in the win over K-State. We saw that in Iowa State's win at Houston last year, where he had about a 70 to 75-yard touchdown run. That's a really good combination of running backs to have, and Iowa State hopes that both of them can rush for at least 600 yards this season. And if that happens, it'll be the first time that Iowa State's had 2 running backs in the Big 12 era, which goes back to 1996, to rush for at least 600 yards.
We're here with Alec Bussey from 24/7 Sports, covering, of course, Iowa State, and as well as the host of the first quarter on 106.3 KXNO and the Iowa Sports Radio Network. So, Alec, because it's so close, the task for you guys, I'm sure, is to kind of get all those predictions in a little bit earlier than everyone else. For Iowa State, is it a trip to the Big 12 title game? Is it representing the Big 12 in that college football playoff? Where are you at on this team?
Yeah, I think if you would have asked me that question back in, May, June, Kevin, even early July, I probably would have told you that my expectations for them were closer to 7 to 9 wins. Last Saturday, a week ago, I actually did my game-by-game predictions, and I still landed pretty close to that. But I'm getting more bullish on this team as the season starts to get closer and closer. I have them winning 8 games, going 8-4. I think, if you kind of look at a Big 12 schedule, so many of those games are toss-ups, right? Every team is a pretty net equal from a talent perspective. It's not like it is in the Big 10 or the SEC where, team number 2, like Alabama, has a drastic talent advantage over team number 14, which might be Mississippi State or whatever you want to pick. And the Big 12, it's not like that. So it's hard to go through and pick Big 12 games. I had them losing to Colorado, Arizona State, and TCU in the Big 12, I believe, if I remember correctly. And then I had them losing to Iowa in the non-conference game. So there's where I got my 4 losses. But I do think that there's upside for this team to potentially compete for a Big 12 title again. I also think there's upside for this team to potentially, really contend to get to the CFP if everything comes together. On paper, I don't like this roster as much as I did last year's because there's not as much returning production, but it's still a really strong group.
And to Alex's point, in the Big 12, there are 6 teams under 10-1 to win the Big 12 championship. In the Big 10, there's only 5 under 30-1. So that's why, again, I say, I try and push off the Big 12 predictions. I might cheat. I mean, I'll let you know what I think after week 0 because it's tough. Alec, we appreciate it so much, man. Best of luck throughout the season. I'm sure we'll talk again.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Kevin. I appreciate it and enjoyed it quite a bit. Good luck.
All right, thank you so much there again, Alec Bussey, stopping by, helping us get ready for week 0. And you really can't drive the point home enough. That is the stress factor, the importance of that game between K-State and Iowa State is undeniable. We'll be right back with you. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Answer is this: 12-team, 3 wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan number 1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around, you're still getting 2 number 1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers are playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions. We're still here with you on a Thursday. Run. Yankees, Red Sox. Ben Rice tried to throw down a second. Nightmare for him. Run comes in. There's runners on the corner, so the guy was stealing goes at third. So, but that's fine. We're looking for runs there. That's good with me. No problem. Astros were able to get going first. Did this guy just get thrown out at third, though? Never mind. All right, so the Red Sox are running. Everyone's running out of stuff. Walker with a home run in that opening inning against the Orioles. What do you know? Brandon Young is not going to throw a perfect game again. All right, let me not be a jerk about it. It's early. But still, it's 2-0 Houston. We like to see that. So it was Yerfy, Astros, Orioles, Nerfy, Yankees, Red Sox. We'll see how it lands in Tampa Bay, St. Louis. The first half of that inning was clean, but leadoff man gets on for Tampa Bay, so they could be threatening. Carolina leads at the end of that first period against the Steelers 3-0. They had a nice little drive. It did stall out via a holding penalty, but catching points with a lead, fantastic, just where you want to be. That is exactly where we are right now, though Pittsburgh is actually marching towards midfield. We will see where that lands. On the W slate right now, it's trending under early in Sun Mystics. The positive is it's such a low total, it only takes a small burst to give us some life, but we don't have a ton right now. The Sky, why didn't I just, $10, why didn't I just give a little something? The Sky are threatening to lead in the first half, or at the end of the first half. It looks like a buzzer beater from Natasha Cloud. We'll make it 46-44 at the break for the Liberty. So no first half money line cash for the Sky. They cover the first half. We're catching 15. They're only down 2. It's about as good as you could really ask for. Camila Cardoza with a double-double in the first half. She's got 10 and 11 with 4 assists, which is incredible. Ariel Atkins with double digits. Angel Reese right now with 6 and 3. And then we get the first quarter underway in Minnesota at Atlanta. I want to just take a little bit more time to talk about Vegas and Phoenix. This, to me, I think Yankees Red Sox was the main event tonight, but Aces Mercury would be option number 2. And I think that is because, if you are someone who has followed the WNBA for just the last 5 years, you understand the staying power that this Las Vegas team has. And you understand the pedigree of not just Vegas, but Aja Wilson as well. And the Las Vegas Aces start to this season was so brutal, and it felt like it was never going to turn around. And Aja Wilson, I know we don't do, WNBA free agency offseason, but Aja Wilson is actually to be an unrestricted free agent, I believe, this off. So I had a moment where I was like, well, why don't they just trade Aja then at the All-Star break? Because this is all a disaster. They obviously didn't do that. It was never really in consideration. But what they've now done is they finally turned the corner. This team has won 10 of 11 games. The loss was a historic 53-point drubbing in their own building against Minnesota. But off of that, they've won 8 in a row. And what we've seen in this 8-game stretch is Aja Wilson get back to her level. And I think it's really important to understand what that means. For Aja Wilson, being one of the 6 best players in the league isn't enough. And for Vegas, clearly that isn't enough. Because at no point is someone putting together a list and telling you that Aja Wilson isn't one of the 5, 6 best players in the WNBA. But she also didn't have a claim to be the best player this season. That was Nafisha Collier, undoubtedly. And Aja was getting lapped in the MVP race. Not just by Fee and Alyssa Thomas, but Sabrina Nescu had even felt more in the conversation than Aja Wilson. Aja Wilson is now well in the conversation. Admittedly, it's because of an injury to Nafisha Collier, but the injury happened, and it's opened the race up. And you now have an 8-game stretch for Wilson during the win streak where she is averaging 27 and 13. And by the way, that includes a game where she had 14 points on 35% shooting. If you remove that, it's like 29 and 13 on 50% from the floor. She has been so good. Gave the first 30-20 game in the history of the W. She's had scored 30 points now in 3 consecutive games. And to me, it's all about hurdles for a team like Vegas. So they had a couple of chances to prove that they were, I don't know if serious is the right word, but like turning a corner. And I thought the victory against Seattle, right, which was the third win in a row, was like, okay, something there, 17-14 now, legitimately over 500. And then the win against the Liberty, which was not, long after, it's like, okay, now Vegas can at least be like, all right, we're winning the games we're supposed to. The victory at Phoenix was a big-time shift. That's winning as an underdog against a team, healthy with that great trio of Sabally, Alyssa Thomas, and Clea Copper. I mean, that is a lot to feel good about. Now you get a win here tonight, if they do get a win here, the Vegas Aces. The remaining schedule, quickly. Washington, Chicago, Atlanta, Minnesota, Chicago for another 2, and LA. This Vegas group will be an underdog twice, rest of the way. That's it. And quite frankly, I don't even know if they would be an underdog at home against Minnesota if Collier's out. This is a group who, at the moment, there are 4 teams booked in front of them to win the WNBA championship. There's no world that changes with the Lynx. There's no world that changes with the Liberty. But Vegas, who preseason was under 4-1 and are currently triple that number at 12, flashing lights, an absolute number to watch. Can they get it done tonight? That's the question. I'm on the under 107.5. I think they can get it done. We'll be tracking it. Quick break, right back. Game Time Decisions.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Answer is this: 12-team, 3-wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan number 1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 number 1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers were playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions. Thursday night on SportsGrid. We will be back tomorrow. Man, oh man. College football, what a beautiful thing. I just want to let people know that we are already getting our ducks in a row for next week. College football futures. FanDuel's hyping up this Futures Day thing. That better come with profit boosts and no sweats and fantastic things. It better. They're hyping it up. Futures Day. We'll be ready. because we're always ready, okay? College football futures, we're going to get you them, okay? We'll do a CFP playoff prediction, all that. Not tomorrow, next week, all right? We'll do all of that right here, I promise you. And I'll tell you this, I already know for sure, the Tuesday leading into the NFL season, Kevin 7, we're going to get a bunch of them. 7 AFC playoff teams, 7 NFC playoff teams, 7 NFL award futures, the whole thing. We're going to do it all because we're locking in. We're ready to go. We're putting people in position right where they need to be. So we have you covered, I promise you, for the football season and everything that is to come. And we want you in the mix with us right here. You know, I got to tell you, a lot of these main events are going to get pretty obvious. Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football. Tomorrow's main event could be obvious. You want to let us know what you think it is? Go ahead, tweet at us. At SportsGrid, at the Kevin Walsh. Find Casino Chris's Twitter. Tweet at him. He'd love it. Chris Kofsky 22. All right, go ahead. Let him know. It's going to be Chris tweeting to himself his own ideas on a burner. I know it. I'm on to you, pal. I'm on to you, pal. All right? Runs, by the way, early in Tampa Bay, St. Louis. That's a Yerfie. We need that to slow down. We're on the under. 4-1 Houston against Baltimore. And then the Yanks and the Red Sox are now tied at 1 apiece. Unfortunately, Jack Plummer throws himself an interception on the 5-yard line, which is not what you wanted to see. As a touchdown there, up 10-0, could have potentially, it would have felt like it almost put the cover in the bag, quite frankly. Even a field goal would have felt fantastic. We'll see what we get from a game that, quite frankly, I don't think either team wants to be involved with anymore. But we're still on the Panthers, catching the 6.5. I'm backing away from Giants-Patriots. I'm excited to watch it if we get some Jackson Dart. Tomorrow we get a fresh 4-pack of NFL preseason action. We'll be involved. We have NFL preseason action this weekend, which a lot of people are going to hand wave. I won't. I refuse. I will say quickly, though, for this weekend, why are we not getting Anthony Richardson to play against Cincinnati? Can anyone figure that out? Shane Steichen? I like Shane Steichen. I do. I think he's good. I think Shane Steichen should have won Coach of the Year his first year in Indianapolis, and they didn't even make the playoffs. That's how good I think Shane Steichen is. What's he doing? Given Daniel Jones. Shane Steichen came from an NFC East team. This guy's nuts. Now, to be fair, he was in the NFC East the year that Daniel Jones ended up making the playoffs and winning a playoff game. The Eagles then proceeded to play Daniel Jones the next week in a playoff game and dominated him. I don't know. Shane was too busy calling the offense. Didn't watch that. Giving up on Anthony Richardson. My goodness, I got a lot to say, but I don't think we have all the time. Then we have the Browns, whose quarterbacks hate each other. Dylan Gabriel taking shots, it seems, at Shedeur Sanders. Gabriel doesn't seem like a good locker room guy. I'll say it. Anybody else? If Shedeur Sanders took a shot at Dylan Gabriel, what would everyone be saying about Shedeur? Not a good look for Dylan Gabriel, who some didn't even know if he was going to get drafted and ended up a third-round pick by the Browns. Not great. Not great. Not great. Also, quickly, just a reminder, the Tour Championship is going on. Scotty Scheffler is 2 off of Russell Henley for the lead. And what does that mean? That means that Scotty Scheffler is already almost minus money to win this tournament. Real Tiger-esque. Real Tiger-esque. He just won last week. I almost think it's a good thing that the golf season's coming to a close. I think people need a breather from all this Scotty Scheffler. Does he get the job done? We'll ask that question and try to answer it tomorrow and more on Game Time Decisions. Up next, it's In Game Live right here on SportsGrid.